2 weeks of State of Origin in Perth.
2 weeks.
Yep.
And
properly. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Eddie and Jimmy, the podcast, as we take your questions on this Wednesday. How are you, Jimmy? Jimmy Bartel, that is, of course, superstar of the AFL, broadcaster extraordinaire.
Thanks.
Good to have you here, mate. Thanks to Fiji Airways and our friends at Hyundai. Let's get stuck into it, mate. Let's go. All right, you ready? I'm going to ask you this one from David, re second-tier competitions. He says, the current state of the VFL is a mess with too many clubs, should be split up into two divisions with a relegation system. Geez, that sounds an awful lot like the VFA back in the old days.
You know what it sounds like? The EFL, the Eddie Football League.
It does, doesn't it?
You promulgated.
The AFL should also join that relegation, and Richmond right now by end of season could be in division. Oh, what's this?
No,
Lastly, Crows and Port in the Sandful should be in the VFL, or do we simply bring back the reserves?
Well, it looks like it's heading towards the reserves.
Well, that's what it should be.
Because the two South Australian clubs want to put their teams into the VFL competition to align it a bit more and have greater control over that. Relegation is not going to happen at AFL.
No. But you could have two divisions.
No, you could. The only way you're going to get to not divisions, conferences.
Conferences is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is the thing. A lot of people, I love the AFL Commission in concept. The omnipotency that they put up, though, is completely... They make mistakes. I think one of the greatest acts of vandalism in football was the killing off of the VFA, okay, because we had two-tiered competition with under-19s, reserves and seniors, and that would now have women as well. You had all these great grounds in areas around the place. We killed them off, and now we're going to basically, David's half right here, going back to what we would have had.
Yep.
So it doesn't make any sense. And guess what? Reserves and under-19s used to work pretty well at the clubs.
Yep.
I've still got my letter from North Melbourne. Right now, I don't know about you, but I think you'd rather get one from them than the Calder Cannons.
Yeah, so that if
you're it down to, I'm not saying kill off the under-18 competition.
Well, that's the thing. Did you absorb back the Talent League, which is now without a sponsor? Does that get absorbed back into clubs?
Yeah, and get coaches into the right spots. Have development coaches actually who are there.
Going all the way through.
Yep. All right. So, David, yeah, we sort of agree with you and disagree at the same time.
All right. I'll ask you.
Righto.
From Joel, AFL Hollywood movie. If you guys were in charge of producing a Hollywood budget AFL biopic to capture an international audience, whose story would you want to tell? Can be based on any player or club season. For me, I would choose to tell the story of Jason McCartney, surviving the Bali bombings in 2002, battling to overcome his injuries to return for one final game. You forget he also kicked the winning goal in that. It's a truly inspirational story that I feel would have a broad international appeal and could showcase everything we love about the game.
Yep, I'll go with that one.
Yeah,
I was heavily involved in it, obviously, at the time, with Jason coming to me, and I actually had to ring Danny Laidley to say, no, he's coming on the footy show, even though the game's on the Friday. And Danny was sort of fighting back. And as a coach, I said, mate, this is... we had a good relationship because Danny used to work for Collingwood as an assistant coach. I said, mate, this is bigger than a footy match. This is bigger than... No one will remember North Melbourne, Richmond in 20 years' time, but they're going to remember what this game is about. And then Danny was great and acquiesced. And I knew it was going to be his last game, and we'd discussed the whole thing. So then Jason came on the footy show that night, and then we did the broadcast. What I didn't tell Dennis Cometti was what was going on, because I wanted Dennis to just call it
live.
And Dennis was just absolutely magnificent. And I'm looking forward to actually going over to pay tribute to Dennis on Monday at his State Memorial in Perth, to digress there. But so I'm sitting next to Dennis, and he is just calling it with pathos and just beautiful words. And I'm sitting next to him, sort of knowing where this is all heading to. And you couldn't have scripted it any better. He was just brilliant that night. And then Jason, of course. If you actually go back to the Friday night football, Jason's parents came on at half time, and we were all in tears, because they knew and I knew, and they knew that I knew and I knew that they knew, and we had to sort of keep it going.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, he kicks the winning goal at the end of it, and wow. Yep.
Incredible.
Joel, absolutely. That's the Hollywood movie.
Who plays Eddie?
Yeah, who plays Eddie?
Santa.
Yes, perfect. Xander McGuire.
Santa can do it. He's an old Neighbours actor.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. I'll ask you this one. Holding the ball. When a player is tackled a couple of metres inside the boundary line, they and the tackler will often walk the ball across the boundary for a throw-in to be called.
There has been no attempt to dispose of the ball, insufficient intent to keep the ball in play.
Yep.
There are 2 opportunities to penalise the tackler, but this happens in every game, always a throw-in. Should this be a free kick? What do you reckon?
Throw it in. Stalemate. Depends how. If it's over the line, fair enough, but
I think the point they're making is that they see the boundary line, they don't actually attempt to dispose of the football.
well, as we know, there are
But
rule
they won't.
interpretations for different parts of the ground.
But they won't attempt to now because if you're that close to the boundary line, the worst thing you can do is actually put a handball on it because it's likely to go out of bounds.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're going for a mark in the goal square, the fullback can be a boa constrictor. Do the same thing on the wing as a free kick all day. So
You can take crowbars to people on the goal.
yeah. All right, let's go.
Maintaining passion. First off, I love the show. Thanks, Scott. I listen to the show every week and I'm in awe of the passion Eddie has for Collingwood and the game. I'm a Carlton supporter in my mid-40s and wish I had even 50% of the passion that Eddie does. My question is, how do I keep the passion alive when my team rebuilds again? I think we must be up to rebuild 10. For context, I've been a member most of my life.
Yeah, well, Scott, good on
come
you,
on,
mate.
Scotty.
You've got the passion. It's just you got the disappointment at the moment. For me, what I used to say when we were trying to rebuild Collingwood at the start of my presidential career in '99, I remember getting up and the only thing we could fix was the president's dinner. You know, so I brought a bit of showbiz to it, and Ross Oakley came and helped work it with us, and we really turned into something. And then we started, doing deals with Versace and Lexus and Volvo in the first
Pentridge,
instance with
yeah.
Andrew Moore and all that.
Barwon Prison,
all those sorts of things.
All
Yeah,
those places, yeah.
yeah. So, but we did something different. But the thing I used to say to was, I remember getting up one day saying at a president's dinner, there's a young kid playing tonight for the first time. He's wearing number 20, and his name is Chris Tarrant. He's going to be a beauty for us. He's got everything we want. He's a beautiful player. Go and tell the kids to put number 20 on their back. We're going to start bringing through these players. And we got flogged this particular night, and Taz played pretty well. Took a screamer somewhere along the track. And that's what you've got to do. But Carlton is stiff at the moment. They played really well on the weekend.
Well, they won a last quarter.
Yeah.
This is a big,
Well,
big
there's a step.
Yeah.
So they're not that far off. But yeah.
Some smart decisions. They got some smart people in there. The
part of the rebuild.
Footy wheel can turn.
Does. State of Origin. To me, the obvious State of Origin game to play next year is South Australia v Victoria in Adelaide. That leaves Perth with no content. Could this game be hosted in Perth? No. Or could there be 2 games in WA, South Australia, South Australia, Victoria, WA v best of the rest?
Well, the Allies, yeah.
Yeah, or, as I've said, maybe even the Indigenous All-Stars. However, I'm going to say this today. Mark this down and put it in a time capsule.
I have my pen.
I would love to see next year, because we've got the sesquicentennial test, which is going to put the season back a bit, okay?
I like how you say that too.
Right? 2 weeks of State of Origin in Perth.
2 weeks.
Yep.
And
properly.
And the matchup? WA versus...
I'd have everyone playing.
Yeah, but like, would you go South Australia versus Victoria, as Craig said, and Western Australia versus whether it's Indigenous All-Stars or Allies?
Somebody, yeah. No, not Allies. No, because we want the second division team as well. Tasmania playing like we did at the bicentennial.
Oh, so you want each state to have a team playing?
Everyone plays.
So Queenslanders play.
Everyone plays.
Jeez, everyone plays.
We did it in 1988, and it was the best 2 weeks I reckon I've had. It was like a convention for footy heads. It's where Michael Long was discovered. Michael Long would never have come to Melbourne, would never have been seen if not for that day. And I actually was sitting there with Noel Judkins and Kevin Sheedy standing behind me, and everyone came out to have a look at this skinny bloke from Northern Territory, who was a magician, and everyone just said, but could you imagine him coming to Melbourne? He'd get killed, and the cold, and all the stereotypes that we had in those days to not bring Indigenous players into the game. And I remember Kevin Sheedy, he was actually standing behind me, said to Judkins, let's get this kid over. And I reckon that's where it all changed for Sheeds, and that's where the game. So I think the effects of State of Origin football can be profound, and you do it as part of your warm-up to the season. Gets more content for those of us who think like that, but as well as that, it is just an amazing opportunity. Have a break over the sesquicentennial test and then come up with round one.
It'd just be hard. You get coaches buying.
Don't care. They don't need to buy, mate.
No, I'm just
Guess
saying
what? They get paid. The AFL's got to run the competition.
No. Well, I'm stating the obvious.
And it's like the coach of the San Francisco 49ers whinge about coming to Melbourne. And you know what the commissioner, Roger Goodell, says? He's a coach. His job is to whinge. His job is to complain and to make sure that he can get the best possible result, which for him would be 4 o'clock every Saturday in his stadium. Okay? My job is to grow the game, make the money, and do what's best for everybody else. You do your job. I'll do mine. I get the last say.
Yep. No, I don't disagree with that.
But if you just come out and said, that's good, you've had your opinion, thanks, guys. We can't get the umpires, we can't get the coaches at the same game to agree on the same rule. Don't worry about them. They come and go, mate.
I'm not disagreeing. I was just making the obvious statement of what will happen.
Yeah, I know it's the obvious statement, but you know who's going to whinge? They whinge every time.
Yes. It's a professional.
What's the difference between a coach and an aeroplane engine?
Go on.
Eventually, an aeroplane engine will stop whining. I say that with love. Please don't take it the wrong way. I do. But come on, that's where it's at. No, there has to be a balance, okay? I've been joking.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance, but for the benefit of the game, and if everybody wants to keep getting this one, you're going to have to play more games. Guess what footballers do for a living?
Make money.
Play football.
And make money.
Yeah, well, you need one to get the other.
All right. Eddie, you ready? Hang on.
Yeah, okay.
This is from Emmanuel. Can you say 150th anniversary test the way I know you like to say it?
The sesquicentennial.
You love saying that. Is it? I reckon it's rocketed up your list of favourite words.
You like that? Well, it is. Well, I'm actually on the organising committee of the sesquicentennial test, and everyone, they're going 150.
Yeah.
And I said, don't dumb it down. Lift people up.
Yep.
Give them a new word.
Yeah. So with the
So you like sesquicentennial?
I like Sasquatch better. Cricket's Sasquatch test. Big Yeti at the MCG.
But do you like the sesquicentennial, don't you?
I'm a pretty simple man. 150 sounds good to me.
Oh, come on, mate.
I'll end up saying it. If I say it too many times, I end up sounding like Kenny Callender. Like,
Mate, you'll be saying it.
Yeah.
It's great. But it'll be, I'll tell you what. The early organising, it is going to. You love your cricket.
Oh, I'm obsessed with cricket.
Well, this is going to be. When I was 12, I went to the centenary test. I was there on the day when Hooksy hit the runs, and Rick McCosker came out, and the crowd started singing "Waltzing McCosker" organically. It was with a bandage around his head, and Marshy, I think, was 97 not out, going on to become the first Australian wicketkeeper to make 100 runs. It was just the greatest day, and me and my mates from Broady, we had eskies full of Coca-Cola.
Cordial.
Well, it was. We're only 12.
Okay.
And
Well, I thought you would have been on the harder stuff by then.
a few of the boys might have been. I was a good boy. But I remember that, and I used to catch a train past the MCG, go from Broady to Windsor to CBC St Kilda, and you'd go past the MCG every day, and they used to have the sign on it, centenary test, and it just became bigger and bigger. And Greg Chappell tells a story how he turned up, sort of, it's another game, and then he turned up, and everyone was there. Bradman was the chair of the Australian Cricket Board, as what they were called in those days, but suddenly everyone was there. And then
the magnitude of it.
The Queen was there, and it just grew and grew and grew. The crowds were unbelievable. It was probably, I don't think I'm stretching it too far to say, the biggest event to hit Melbourne since the Olympic Games of 56. So that's 21 years later, 1977. And now, and we've had so many great events and the football's so big, but this is going to be something else. And I think the AFL deserve to be recognised for working around this, and the MCC, and the MC, as in the Melbourne Cricket Club and the MCG, are doing great things. Stuart Fox and his team, and Fred Oldfield, the chair of the MCC, are just really good people. They have really good sporting people, and then the Victorian government as well, getting in right behind it, Visit Victoria, etc. But that's going to be something,
Well, I think
something else. So that's why I give it the full title of sesquicentennial.
The Sasquatch test, of course. Well, this is where Emmanuel's going. When the cricket is on next year, should the AFL piggyback off the occasion and do an Origin round, Melbourne v Geelong at the Dome on Wednesday night, Sydney v Essendon in Sydney, Brisbane v Collingwood, North v Dogs, etc., playing in their inaugural jumpers? Great marketing.
Look, there's a lot of...
You call it the shoulder events.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on because at the other end as well, where does the NFL come into play, and should the AFL even worry about that? So we've got to work it through. So there's a lot of discussion about 2027 that is happening as we speak. So it'll be great. But,
And the grand final will be one day in October.
one day in October. Yeah. Which day? At the moment, it's the first week. I'd like to see it the second week because I think there's an opportunity then to get clear air past the NRL grand final. That period between sort of the grand final and into the racing properly, you've got Bathurst around there, but you can work around those things. I just really like to see it. I think the AFL also like though that the grand final falls in school holidays, so you can do all the activations, etc. But we can work around that.
Yep.
Anyway, but a lot to be discussed on all that over the next period of time. Good people working really hard together to come up with the best possible result for everybody. But next year, we're going to have the sesquicentennial test, the AFL season, grand final, obviously, in the final series, the NFL all in town, and the Grand Prix probably a little bit later this
Probably
year.
in racing.
Then the Spring Carnival, then the Australian Open tennis, then Rory McIlroy will play this year in the Australian Open golf. Where else on earth do you want to be?
No, it's
just unbelievable. All right, we'll talk tomorrow about our predictions for the week ahead. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Ed.
All the best.